all that time in the late 90s, I was really telling stories on stage. But there was nobody that, nobody was going to buy stories. They didn't want you to get on TV and tell stories. So I kind of did that almost as my hobby. I would go and tell stories, and there just didn't seem to be any future in it. But audiences liked it, And then, after I shot my half-hour special, then I just started going for it and going up into the club and doing stories, like forcing my long tails on these people. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. But eventually it kind of became my thing. And then I thought, well, I guess this is what makes me, special. This is my unique selling point. So I better start stressing this. So then I started saying, like, this is me. I'm a storyteller. Here we go. So I would specifically kind of market myself that way. And then these albums were kind of a way to do that. Like, look, I'm a stand-up, but I tell stories. So, like, watch, I'm going to do 12 albums. This is what I do. Like, I work long forms. Well, now you can do that. I mean, I'm kind of like, the reason I have a fascination with Danny is I'm just like Danny in that, there's people who like me. I'm not pretending I'm a total outsider. I got my little home. I got my kind of, Red Eye's been great because you're always looking for a platform. You're looking for somebody who's going to take you in and, it's like you need a megaphone. So Comedy Central is a big megaphone in this business, Now, Comedy Central, it's not like they don't like me. They gave me a half-hour special, but, they're not, like, sticking me like Anthony Jeselnik all over the tube, like 24/7. So you've got to look elsewhere. You can't just, like, be begging to Comedy Central because, they have a specific demographic, and, that's what they're aiming for. So then I'm like, oh, let's get me out on, Red Eye. Like, this is my place, So I found a good audience there. And then I go to, Sirius XM. I did a show, essentially like a podcast on Sirius XM, a storytelling show on there. So I'm always reaching out, trying to find an audience. And I haven't had any big deals. I never got a TV deal. I never got still haven't done Letterman or Tonight Show. Now I'm kind of in good with Fallon because I've done the show and I do sketches and we do barbershop on there and stuff like that. But I'm still an outsider. I'm not in the cool club of comedy. So I didn't have a record label running me down to do this project. And I pitched this 12 albums project to some of the, I pitched it to the big people. Nobody wanted to do it. Like, I wanted it to be $1.99, it's got to be, and people were like, I don't know about that. So I was like, I'm doing it on my own, and basically Jason, he's like a one-man operation. So, like, I've worked with him before. But basically, I'm self-releasing, So that's what you got to do. It's like you can't sit around. When I started this business, you waited for the booker of Letterman to come and book you on the show. And that was the only way in. Like, nobody was out there, selling their CDs out of the back of their van, like you just weren't on your own. You always kind of went the traditional route. And now things are wide open. People like Dane Cook changed all that. Like, he really did, now Dane Cook is a mega superstar now, but people don't really realize he was an outsider. He was like, no, I'm going to, Dane Cook was a radical because he didn't, remember in the early days of the internet, people would email you, and if you're in show business, you'd be like, oh, I'll have my manager call you back, that was the way you did it. If somebody emailed you, it wasn't cool to engage with your fans because people, professionals, they were like, no, call my publicist, your website was always like run by your webmaster, and all that kind of stuff. And Dane Cook was like, I don't have a webmaster. I'm here. Email me. And people would email him and he would text message them back, So I remember when he was doing that, and comedians were like, what's with this guy? Like, he's texting his fans? Like, it seemed kind of nerdy, it seemed needy. But now everybody's needy, you know what I mean? Like, nobody's cool anymore. Nobody's above it. They're all reaching out to fans. So it's like, this is a good era because, in the old days, you just had to kind of like cry into your pillow, like, oh, they don't love me, I'm not getting booked. But, like, there's no excuse for that now. People still do it. But, like, that's why Danny McDermott's an inspiration. Like, nobody's given him a shot on, he's not on Fallon. He's not in any cool club, and so, but it doesn't matter. Danny's still putting it out there. He's not going to stop. So it's like, we're all kind of doing that to some extent.